are two issues that will affect the residents and property values. The first is the new floodplain designations, and the second is the green energy plan for Grace Lake. I want you to discuss these two issues, give us your views, and I don't know if there's anything you can do about it, if you think you can do about it, but if there is, go ahead, and then anyone out in the audience, if you want to go further on these questions, please get the cards up. We only have a few more questions left, so if you're going to do cards, please look around for the 3x5 cards, okay? We are going to start with, who did I start with, Tim? Yeah, gee, come on up. You can remember all that. Do you remember all those questions?
I voted no.
You wrong.
First the floodplain, we need to accept the fact that we missed the window on being able to make the changes. And we need to take a look at where we are today and find out the best solution for moving forward. I think the first thing we need to do is take a look at if we do join FEMA and allow our residents to get the flood insurance, what administrative cost is that going to have for the township, and what effect is that going to have on all the other homeowners? We need to understand that and get a better grasp of that, and I don't know the answers to that right now, but we need to get a better grasp of that, and we need to understand what effect joining FEMA is going to be. I know that right now they're formulating a plan to evaluate each individual property and to evaluate each property and submit paperwork to try and get the properties that are that have mortgages currently and get those out of the floodplain. I think we need to go farther than that because I think anybody who owns a property has to be included in that. We have to be aggressive for all those people. If you have a senior citizen who owns their house and doesn't have a mortgage, they don't have to buy flood insurance. But you know what? If they try and sell their house to move to a condo, they have half the equity, if not less, than they had before, and everybody's house is already depressed. So we need to take a full sweep and basically get the evaluation going on all these properties, get everybody out of the flood zone that we possibly can. I think the best plan would have been to take action when we first had the opportunity, but like I said, that's gone. The green energy plan, I've done some research on the green energy plan because my aunt and uncle live right on the other side of the Visteon complex. From the research I've done so far, first off, I don't believe it belongs there. The zoning is not correct. I'm not sure it actually should be there. But from a safety point of view, they're taking the gas, filtering it, and burning it and generating electricity with it. So they're burning this gas. They were burning the gas anyway, it's just before they were just burning the gas directly from the output without filtering it. So at least now what they're burning, they're actually cleaning up as well as generating electricity with. I don't know the answer. I know these plants exist in a lot of townships, and the research I did found very little issue with the residents having issues with them. I'd like to find out more about them, but I don't think there's any way we can change this. And I believe a quote from one of our attorneys was, you know you have limited amount of insurance before you go down this path of trying to fight them. Thank you. I got red carded.
Since when is Washington or FEMA all knowledgeable? You know, I'm not going to bang on anybody's door about a window that we missed to fight this. It's wrong. The map's wrong. We've already got proved on the Belleville Lake numbers that they gave us. FEMA is incorrect. We need to stand up as a small community and be the first to do it and say, yes, we're going to take you on. We don't believe it's correct. We don't believe after the last 100 years that the 100-year flood's coming. And then, if indeed we were still forced to do it, the flood insurance is not going to cover any kind of tragedy that we have in our community. We're not going to have houses floating off their foundations. We've got a dam at each end of our lake. Make a phone call to Flat Rock real quick and let them know they got a problem coming. FEMA is not all-knowing. FEMA is not all-powerful. We can't allow Washington to come to our community and at their whim make us do things. We've already done it with the Department of Justice that I spoke up against. And now FEMA says that here in Michigan, because we're a Great Lakes state, we're in a floodplain. I don't think so. We need to stand up as a community. We need a leader that's not afraid to spend some money on an attorney for something that's going to benefit the entire community. Because as it stands now, even the people that, if we do designate a floodplain, we're all going to pay for it. I feel terrible for the people that missed the window. They're having to pay $2,000 a month right now. They're facing maybe losing their house because of a mistake that was made first in Washington, first by the bureaucrats at FEMA, and then by our local township. Grace Lake is a completely other problem. Grace Lake, we had people in our community that spent years working on a master plan. We had the planning commission involved. We had a lot of our citizens that gave a lot of their own time. They didn't get paid for this. They went in and we said, we're going to designate this beautiful Grace Lake area that's going to look like a college campus. We want businesses in here. We want accounting firms. Any kind of like a college campus-like situation business, what we want in here. We don't want manufacturing. It doesn't belong there. I still say we need to fight it.
I agree with Larry on the fact that we have to fight FEMA. We have wrongly been designated as a floodplain. As he said, property values will plummet even more than they have already if we buy into the FEMA insurance plan, and that will affect everyone, not just the homeowners that are in the floodplain, but the total township. We need to fight that on any level that we can because, as he said, the federal government makes mistakes, and they've made a big one here. And as far as the Grace Lake project goes, I'm not real familiar with that. I've only touched on it in my research, but I do promise that I will research it thoroughly and find out what is the best for our township. I was asked a question about it the other day, and I assured that gentleman that I would look into it, and I will. And whatever is the best for the citizens involved, the neighbors in the neighborhood, and as Larry said, we want to bring in good businesses, office technology businesses, not factories. We'll try to find a workable solution that will satisfy everyone. Thank you.
With regard to the issue on FEMA, I was very disappointed to find out the way that the township handled that. I had seen that going through, because I read the newspaper in Livonia where I worked months prior, and just thought that it would be, that it was something was going to be handled, and so that was very troubling to see. And then Sumter, I saw Sumter Township in the newspaper here in Belleville and thought, okay, well, what's going on here in Van Buren? And so I will say that even when I spoke with some homeowners out on Alden Drive when I was out visiting, they're really concerned because I don't know if you know, but they own the property halfway to the middle of that lake. That water, they own the land under that water. Well, what does that mean for them? I couldn't answer that question because of where we are with FEMA. And can we fight FEMA? I know that there are communities pulling together to fight. I don't necessarily think we need to fight. I think we need to collaborate. We need to say, look, all of these communities, these particular communities in Wayne County have something to say about it. And we want you to hear us. I think that that's what we definitely, and I agree with Larry, we do need to absolutely be certain that they're hearing us. The issue with the green energy plant, it's really interesting. I was at an environmental commission meeting and I was speaking with two residents who were very passionate about not having that. And this was my first time hearing about it, it was a few months ago. I remember I worked for Van Buren Township during the EQ issue when we didn't want PCBs to continue to come in. And it ended up coming down to the state said, well, that's the suitable property for it, and somebody has to bury the PCB somewhere, and that's the location that we're going to approve. And that was just something really tough to swallow. I don't know whether or not that's something that the state would say you have to do. I don't know if locally, I don't know. I'm going to honestly say I don't know if locally we really have the power to fight that, or if that's something that would end up coming down to the state saying, no, you have to do that, or the federal government saying, no, you have to do that. And that would be another really tough pill to swallow as well, because the environment is extremely important to me, and especially being here on Belleville Lake, and we look at, and we look at having 2 landfills here in the community. we really, really want to be certain that we are doing all that we can to preserve our environment, and I do know that is a concern for people, and I would definitely look into what options do we have with regard to that. Thanks.
As you probably read in the paper, the FEMA has been something that we have had to deal with. Right now, we are in the process of trying to get the people out that have been designated with a problem. We know the lake has been made a mistake by FEMA. Our biggest thing now is to help those people get out of it, take care of it, and then we do need to get together and we do need to go after FEMA to correct these maps. I don't know if joining FEMA is the best thing. I have read the paperwork, the amount of money involved, the amount of responsibilities that you now take on. I'm not sure that's what the township wants to do, but it is an issue, and we are working to help these folks that have this problem. We also know that there's other parts of the community that have not been mapped yet. We don't know where that's going to be, but it is a top priority. And I don't want to get into who got the letters and who didn't get them, other than to say they never come to the treasurer. And then as far as the conversion cogeneration plant, that has definitely been something that the Planning Commission has toiled and toiled and toiled with. You know, we started out, it came to us because they went to the residents. When it finally came to us, the residents were sure we already knew about it when we didn't. They talked about it. We tried to protect them on the east side of the property. We said no, we would not do that. We wouldn't give it to them. The residents said, well, let's put it on the west side, we can work with that. Well, then we started getting letters from the governor, we got letters from the senators, we got letters from our county commissioners. Everybody's saying it's a green project, this is what we need to move forward with. I do know that the gas is all underground, it's filtered, it runs the engines that create the electricity, and it also heats that Hovis Dam project, and I'm done. Thank you.
As far as FEMA and the floodplain goes, I really don't know too much about it, other than the fact that I did live in Dearborn Heights, and our street would flood maybe every 4 or 5 years from curb to curb, and we had to buy the FEMA insurance, but it didn't cover anything. You had to have a total destruction of your house. And I think this is another example of Washington just creeping their bureaucracy into the everyday lives of people. But what do you do about it? You're going to fight the government? You're going to fight the Fed? I think we need to notify our representatives in the state and in Washington. They're the ones who are going to do something about it. We're going to go broke fighting. And it's a creepy thing, and it'll just keep growing and growing and growing. You won't solve the problem this year. They'll be back next year. As far as the cogen plant, I worked in a shop that had multiple blowers, 300 horsepower motors, blowing a lot of air. And it's really amazing that you don't realize how much noise there is until you step outside on a Sunday afternoon and go for a little walk. Then you get this eerie silence, okay? But I didn't have to get that far away from the building. And I'm not saying I know the answer to this either, but it seems real simple that you go on a tour and you go visit a couple cogen plants and you get a real feel for what's really happening. You need to burn the gas. I mean, we're burning it anyway. You know, we're told there's global warming, and we're burning it over here just to destroy it so the methane doesn't destroy the atmosphere. But then we're burning natural gas over here to create electricity. So the common sense comes in here. And the other thing I didn't tell you about, I was chairman of the American Iron and Steel Institute, chairman of the hot strip mills in North America. And what I loved about it is I got to go around to all the steel mills in Canada, United States, Mexico, and some in Europe to see how they do things. And sometimes it's shocking how simple the solution is. But if you don't have the facts, I guess you just can't use them. You got to go find out sometimes. Thank you.